Should we do this?
Open our own retro game stores?
Hello and welcome back to Super Kitten Krysta 64. We are doing something really interesting today. We are here at the Gameshop Downstairs, which is a retro video game store. But we're going to talk to the owner and learn about like what it all takes to run a retro game store and like whether it's a good idea or not to have a retro game store.
We've been going through all of our old retro games. We got a lot of stuff. Have so much fun when we go shopping for these games. We're starting to ask ourselves the question, should
we do this?
Open our own retro game store? So we're going to get a bit of career advice from the owner of this store. I don't know. I think we should look into this.
Yeah, we have a pretty big collection and we love, all this stuff. So it could be interesting. Let's go take a look, yeah? Alright guys, so we are at one of our favorite places ever, which is the Gameshop Downstairs here in San Jose, California, and we're with the owner.
Wow.
I'm Anthony.
Anthony is the owner of this amazing place, and we wanted to talk to you about just like what is it like to own a retro game store, like how you got into this, like all those things. We're just super interested in learning about all of it.
Well, my interest in video games and retro video games comes from like an artistic standpoint.
Oh.
So, wait.
This is for computer or console?
PC.
PC?
Yeah.
PC.
We're always making deals, right? I love it.
Yeah. Well, my interest in video games comes from an artistic standpoint. So instead of looking at retro games as sort of like nostalgia being the biggest driving factor, it's actually looking at things like 8-bit styles or polygon graphics as sort of like timeless graphics style,
Yeah.
We have a lot of students coming in. A lot of younger people never grew up with this stuff, actually, so it's different than nostalgia. Sort of a fascination with different art styles and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed when I come here on the weekends. Like, it's not just people our age, it's a lot of families and kids. It's like you definitely didn't grow up with these consoles, and it's cool that they get this exposure to it this way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So that's sort of like our biggest ethos of the whole thing, yeah.
What was your moment where, like, I should open a store that's dedicated to this?
Well, I first started by doing, like, Game Boy mods, and I started at home in my own little studio. I was actually selling them on commission outside of Fanime and Comic-Con, like, alongside of my original artwork and stuff like that, next to, like, the booths with the hot dog ladies and stuff like that. Yeah, but from there, they became really popular, and then I ended up starting to sell them on commission at the laptop store upstairs. And then it really started snowballing from there, where I started repairing things from them and starting taking things in. And so it started out from nearly nothing, really. Yeah.
Wow.
And how many years have you been open now?
I've been running this spot for going on 7 years now.
Wow. That's some
So you've been
staying
here
power.
for a long time.
Yeah.
How have you gone about, like, this store is pretty massive. Like, we have this whole space. We're surrounded by games, obviously. There's
So
also
well stocked.
more games and cool things on the other side. It's a pretty big space.
Yeah.
How do you stock all of your stuff? How do you find all of these games to put in the store?
The vast majority of the stuff here comes to us, just in-person trades. We don't really do any online trades or get any distribution of new stuff from big companies or anything like that. It's all just used trade-ins for the most part, with the small exception of maybe our controllers or import games and stuff like that, because we're always looking for stuff from Europe and Japan and everything like that. Yeah.
And as far as, like, deciding this is how much I should charge for this, or if somebody's coming in for a trade, like, this is what this is worth, like, it seems like there's a lot of, like, really fast changes. Like, how do you stay on top of all that?
Well, a lot of what is being sold is well documented, so it's really easy to find out what things are going for, with the exception of like very rare things like prototypes or things that are from the industry and autograph things. Those can be really tough.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like a make me an offer sort of thing, or it's sort of a nebulous kind of thing where you kind of have to feel it out.
Right.
But for the most part, everything here sells pretty frequently online. You can kind of figure out what it's all going for based on condition and stuff like that.
Yeah. I imagine a lot of people, or if you ask them, like, would you be interested in opening a retro game store? They say, yeah, that sounds cool, but like, what are some of the like more challenging things of being in this business?
Well, the most challenging part is keeping everything organized, you know, and yeah.
It's a lot of stuff.
You're like looking around right now, getting stressed out.
Yeah. Really, here specifically, more things come in faster than we can process them.
Oh, wow.
So we are always have stacks of games behind us.
So like the inventory parts of it is just keeping everything organized.
Yeah, we are open only 5 days a week, but I'm definitely down here 7 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Hours beforehand, hours afterhand, just organizing things. But it's a labor of love and probably a labor of obsession. But yeah.
Do you find yourself still having like an emotional attachment to this? Like if somebody brings in a game and it's like a personal favorite, like do you like, oh yeah, this is so great, or is it just like it's just another product?
Now? Is it
no, there are definitely things that I revere as pieces of art, you know. But at the end of the day, everything is inventory, and and if you hold on to the things, you might have trouble paying your rent at the end of the month. And I find that that's really the biggest pitfall of running one of these businesses, is that you become attached to too much of the stuff.
Yeah.
And that would be my problem.
That's your problem. Yeah.
But but everything comes and goes, and I see something new and exciting every single day. Really. So yeah.
What is the one sort of most rare, cool thing you've ever received in the store?
Well, I'm a huge fan of PlayStation 2, so I think the most interesting one that we've gotten in was the European Automobile Edition PlayStation 2, which was, so it was like painted in, I guess, Lamborghini yellow paint with matching controller.
Oh, that's so cool.
But I think they only made like 600 or something of those.
Right.
So they're incredibly rare.
Yeah, and it's also not from the U.S. too, so it's like another market.
Right.
It's just really interesting.
Yeah.
What are like the most popular platforms? Like, what is the most current thing that you have here? Is it
I've got a handful of PlayStation 5 and
Switch,
Xbox Series and Switch stuff,
Yeah.
but really the newer it is, the less of it I have.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what are like you see the most people going towards when they come in?
Oh, that's going to be N64 and GameCube, really, for the most part. Yeah.
GameCube. Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do you think that is?
Well, that is definitely the nostalgia factor, and with all the college students, that was probably their first system, GameCube or Wii.
Yeah.
So, we're seeing a lot of people starting to reinvest in that sort of stuff, and it's kind of bizarre to see people nostalgic for Xbox 360 games, because those feel new.
I totally am.
They're just like, remember Minecraft? I'm like,
yeah. What do you think is the most, like, the games that are the hardest for you to get right now? Like, what generation of games is the most difficult?
You wish you had more of.
Yeah.
The more obscure 90s consoles and stuff. I'm a huge fan of Panasonic 3DO.
Wow.
I would like
to.
And we're looking for more like TurboGrafx games, Philips CDI, and sort of really.
CDI.
Yeah, really. Even though they're maybe not the best games to play, they're definitely something to show people that this is a part of history and stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you feel like doing what you do here is kind of part of that preservation of, of games and like of this as an art medium? Because there's foundations that we have around here as well, like the Video Game Foundation and museums and things like that. Do you kind of feel like running a store like this also kind of plays a part in that preservation as well?
Absolutely, especially in the Bay Area. Like, we don't sell a whole lot of Atari stuff, but I'd like to have a lot of it on the shelf to show people that a lot of this stuff was developed here, and a lot of people come in whose family helped develop these games and stuff like that.
Really?
That's so cool.
Yeah. And we also have a bunch of Apple computers and stuff too, because that's all local history, and I like to show that off to people.
Does that give you access to some interesting stuff of like, hey, I worked on this game and I've got this interesting thing that I no longer need? Do you ever see much of that stuff?
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot of people that had worked for Sony in the 90s and early 2000s, and and they have all kinds of stuff that they had collected over the decades, and now they're pulling them out of their garage and trading them in for Pokemon cards for their kids and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so we actually end up seeing a lot of industry stuff, and I like to showcase that and not really sell it, because I would like to have
the
more
collection of it.
Yeah.
How do you feel like, more modern systems are doing more with digital games? Like, do you ever think like, gosh, in 5 or 10 years, like maybe I'm going to have less stuff to put out of those systems? I mean, clearly there's so much like happening in all of these consoles you have now.
There's not much that I can do about that, but I think that people over time will become disillusioned with the idea of having an entire digital library as subscription services and they stop supporting servers and stuff like that.
Yeah, we've been seeing that happen right now with all the 3DS servers shutting down, the Wii U servers shutting down.
Yeah, so there's really a rush to reinvest in physical media, and there's a lot of people archiving all of the things that maybe were digital only. But in terms of the newer systems and stuff, all that we could do is save whatever physical versions that we can, and it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough.
When you see somebody trading in some stuff, you're like, oh, this is really like something hot. Do you ever have a twinge to tell them like, maybe hold on to this for another year or so? I don't know.
Well, we always try to figure out what's their reasoning for trading in and stuff. There's always an intent and a motive and everything too.
Right.
And we're always transparent with what we get in and stuff like that, and just maybe not freak out about it, but we'll let them know that hey, this is the crazy thing. And sometimes they're surprised, and sometimes they know.
Oh yeah.
You're like the Antique Roadshow guy. You're like, your copy of Devil's Third is worth $700. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you the big question that I think all of our viewers, and I'm also very curious about, is should we own a retro game store? Is this a good business to be in? Is this a fun business to be in? Is it a profitable business to be in, owning a retro game store?
Well, that's a lot of different questions. It's definitely fun. It's definitely profitable if you know how to do it correctly. In the Bay Area, it's especially tough because covering the rent anywhere is very difficult.
Yeah.
So if you have a situation where you can make it work, I'd say definitely try to make it work. But now it's tougher than ever.
Well, I think we're going to shop.
Awesome.
Because I'm very tempted now. But this was so interesting to learn about, what you do, and you've been here for so long, and I really love what you said about kind of seeing this as an art form and also as part of history. It goes a little bit deeper than just hey, I played this game as a 10-year-old, now I want it again. So I love that.
Can you take us around and maybe show us 3 or 4 things that you're personally excited about having in the store that has just been an item of interest from a lot of people lately?
Well, there's this. Let's go around this side.
Okay.
Got a few things over here that look cool. This is our Virtual Boy that we just recently got repaired.
Oh, so it works now, huh?
Yeah, so it has the new PCBs built in that reconnect the ribbon cables permanently.
Wow.
So now you can use it for 10 minutes at a time again.
Do you have to do a lot of maintenance on things that come in?
Absolutely,
you become pretty tech savvy with all that?
Yes, definitely.
But you kind of started out doing that, right? So
Yeah,
that's probably like that.
That is my gaming, is the messing with stuff and tinkering with it.
Yeah.
So I spend most of my time doing.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Another cool thing over here is our set of vintage computers. These are all fully refurbished. But local history. Atari computers, you can still use these for making drum and bass music and sequencing synthesizers. And what a lot of people do with the Apple computers now is use floppy drive emulators. So they compile every piece of software that there was for these older systems. They can run it from a flash drive
That is
instead.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Floppy drive.
This
That
is one that I had
You
in
had at
my
home?
house growing up.
Yeah.
The LC3.
This is why we like having these here, because as soon as people walk around the corner,
Right,
they're
like,
happy
I
to
know
date
that.
themselves.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
It's so cool that I didn't even know that Atari made computers.
Yeah.
That is such an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this
my
is
gosh.
this is
Here
a
we go.
monster of a
Yeah.
keyboard.
No, actually, the entire computer is within
it's
here.
within?
They connects the
To the monitor. Oh
like
my
the
gosh.
Commodores. Yeah.
That is incredible.
Oh, I see. This is so this is like basically a PS2 developer test kit. I remember when we
Yeah,
were working
definitely.
on PS2 games, we
Yeah,
had
it
this.
says the big test. It says
Yeah,
test
this
on
is
it.
our industry area. So we
Oh
have
yeah,
some of
EMC
Oh,
console.
Yeah, they ran electricity through these so that you
Yeah.
could see how much they could take.
Oh yeah,
Stuff
here's
that.
like a demo version of an old EA game.
Yeah, and that's here too, obviously.
Right.
Okay, are you gonna donate your DS that you stole from the Nintendo
No, I'm
office?
not.
I tried, man.
My strategy is hold everything forever. Now,
Absolutely.
this is my
Oh
plan.
my gosh, look at this place though. It is so incredible. The collection is just amazing.
Feel free to take a look around,
Yeah.
shop around, and
Yeah.
definitely let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah,
Thank you.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was so great
Totally.
to just talk to you and learn more about what you do.
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
Cool. All right, we have just left the game shop downstairs. Got some stuff.
Yeah, let's look at what we got first.
Bayou Billy.
Classic, not a good game by any means, but one I want to have in my collection.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have Commando.
Commando,
Very cool.
gotta have it. Classic Capcom.
Very cool. We have, this is a game I've never heard
You
of
seem
before.
confused by this.
I was confused by this.
Nothing to be confused about. Kickle Cubicle. I
Yeah,
gotta
I
say.
have no idea what Kickle Cubicle is.
And then finally, Donkey Kong 94, a game
Yes.
I had, sold, and now I'm buying it back. Funny how
yes,
that
now
works.
you can play it on your analog pocket.
Funny how that works. So, shout out to Anthony for really taking us through
Yeah.
the specifics of like what it means to own a game store, what makes it fun, what makes it hard.
Mhm.
I will come out and say it.
Not for you.
Not cut out for this at
Not
all.
for us.
Not in any way.
So I think when Anthony said you can't be sentimental about your collection, I looked at your face and you were like, yup, this is not for me. Because you're very sentimental,
Right.
and so am I. So I don't think this is a business for us, but big claps all around to Anthony for being at the game shop downstairs and
Well, he's enabling us to be sentimental by
Exactly.
running this store. So he's
Exactly.
doing a good service for all of us.
we are going to link all of his stuff in the description. He is on online as well, so if you want to find some games and trade it in online, you can definitely do that too. And if you're in the Bay Area, definitely stop
Check him
by.
out.
This is one of the coolest retro game stores that I've ever been to, so we can't say enough nice things about it. So we hope that you'll check them out. And that's it. We will keep making videos and not run a retro game store. That's the conclusion.
Yes. More of this coming soon.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.